Okay, ABC. Let's talk about what we have here. So we need to figure out the 2 and the 4 part. What are they? A, B, C, D. A and a C. All right. This isn't part of it, but do you understand you're vertically stretching it and you're going to be moving right 4? Got those names down pat? Vertical stretch it by 2. So what does that physically look like? You can take a point and then like this, okay? And then shifting something. So you're just moving it. Before we figure this out, do you remember how to do any math coordinate stuff? The math coordinate. Okay. X gets, do you remember? Divided by B and minus C. That's all the opposite stuff. And Y gets multiplied by an A. Okay, those are the effects, right? Those are always the effects. So that's it. That's the foundation with everything. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to have to take my value and add 4, because that's a C. And I'm going to have to times by 2. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm just following this format. Okay, so here we go. What is my X value? It was 12. So what is 12 plus 4? 16. And my Y value was negative 8. So what is 2 times negative 8? Negative 16. So I vertically stretched it and I've shifted it right 4. Okay, the second one. What letters do you see here on that one? I see a B and a D. So not asking for it, but on the test there will be questions about words. I have horizontally compressed it by 4. That's a horizontal compression by 4, and this is a shift in the which direction? Up. It's a D. It's a Y stuff. You guys were all doing C's on that, weren't you? A D. Okay. So what is my formula going to be? I'm going to have to do a divide by 4, compression. And then here I would have to do an add 5. Okay, anything with X is, do you remember this? Opposite. So look in here, it says to times X by 4 really, but what do? Divide. Anything that's a Y is the same. So it says to add 5, so what did I do? Added 5. Got that? Everything here is opposite stuff, same stuff. Okay, so what is 12? X value 12 divided by 4 is now 3. And do you remember that our Y value was negative 8? So now it's negative 3. Okay, the last question, you got to do it all. You have an A, B, C, and a D. You have everything. An A, a B, a C, and a D. You have everything going on. Okay, so write down your maneuvers. You are going to, X has to get divided by 3 instead of times by 3. And then there's going to have to be a subtract 2 instead of an add 2, right? So that was all my opposite stuff. Now for the y, I'm going to have to times it by 4, and I'm going to have to subtract 1. So now I'm doing the sames. Okay, so we are going to put a 12 in. So BEDMAS, remember what we talked about? Okay, BEDMAS, you have to do multiply, divide before the add, subtract stuff. So physically, you would have to do a compression or a stretch before a shift. 12 divided by 3, what do you got? 4, 4 subtract 2. Four times negative 8, what are you at right now? Negative 32. And then minus 1 more. All right, so this one has an A and a B value. Okay, I'm going to really test you out here. What are the words of this? What does an A do? It changes Y, so I'm going to start you out with a vertical is the first thing. What's happening? If A, it's a vertical compression by 4. Not a quarter now, because if you really wanted to say this, you would be stretching something by a quarter. Does that really make sense? No. Stretching by a quarter, we're going to reverse that wording and say we're compressing something by 4. Right? Because if, here's my axis, if my height is here, now my height is here. Right? If I'm at 100 height, now I'm at a 25 height. And what does this do? B. So I'm going to start you off with the word horizontally. Does what? Stretches by 2. Okay, so here we go. X would have to get divided by a half. And the A value means I'm going to have to times my Y by a quarter. Okay, what do you do when you divide something by a half? Same thing as doing something else. Multiply by 2. Times flip. Multiply by 2. So what is 16 times 2? 32. Right? And you guys told me you were horizontally stretching it. So if I'm 16 away from something, now I'm 32 away from something. I stretched it out. And what's a quarter of 4? 1. Okay, this question, we got some negatives involved, which I didn't have going on before. So which position is this in? The A position or the B position? This one's in the A. Can you flip to question B here? Do you notice the negative is now on this one in the B position? Do you see the difference? This one's in front of the F function, and this one's in front of just the X. So this kind of math will make me do X comma times the Y. A, where does A go? It goes with the Y. So what is your answer going to be? 8 comma negative 24 becomes 8 comma positive 24. Question B. What do you do with the b? You divide the x. So what is 8 divided by -1? -8. And the y, I'm just copying it. Oh, what am I doing here? C and E. You have 3 of the letters going on this one. 3 of the letters. What do we all got? We have a negative on the A position. The 3 is in the C. Okay, does everybody know that this is going to change X and this is going to change Y? Like everybody's matching that effect? Okay, C works with X, A and D work with Y stuff. So what is your math going to be? X, did you write subtract 3? Because you got to do opposite. And then A is going to be a -1y times her plus 2. So that's your math. So now what do we get? So X was 8. X was 8, so now it's 5. And we have a -24 for the y. So what does this become? Positive 24, and then 2 more, so 26. Okay, so do you see how when I say this has to be completely memorized, you got to know this inside and out, that little thing. All right, so let's do a question from grade 11. Do you remember how to graph your quadratic function? Just your basic quadratic function. Okay, where should I start it out? Which coordinate? The origin. Do you remember how we patterned out the points on this parabola? 1, 1, 2, 4. Yep, that's the pattern. 1, 1, 2, 4. Does that ring a bell? Okay, so here's why this question is a little bit different. Because I'm not doing f of x, I'm listing my function x squared. So there's no f. The function is replaced with an x squared. Okay, so we have to still identify these things, okay? A, B, C, D's. Okay, I think we're straightforward here that that's going to for sure be a D, right? And that's a C. So my question for you here, is this going to be a multiplier on the function x squared, or is this a multiplier on just the x? What do you think? Is this going to have to multiply something with the x squared, or is it going to be multiplying just the x? It's multiplying the whole function. Okay? How would it look different? this would be the look of a bee. Okay. So here we go. X plus 4, 3y plus 2. Okay, I'm going to take a sample of coordinates and then change them to see what my new graph looks like. So I'm going to probably go, I'm not going to do all of them. I'm going to go -2, 4. I'm going to do -1, 1. I'm going to be 0, 0, 2, no, I missed one, 1, 1. Okay, let's divvy. Ben's row, you guys have the first coordinate. Change it, please. Reese's row, you guys have the second one. Gabe's row, you have the third one here. I should take that one. It might be too easy. And then you guys have the 1, 1. And I'll do the 2, 4. Change the coordinates. He was 0, 0's, got her pretty easy. Okay, who's giving me one here? Nolan, you got something? 2, 14. Who's got something for me in the middle? Peyton, do you have something? 3, 5. Moses, do you have something here? 4, 2. Who's got something? Anderson, do you have something there? What'd you say, 5? 5 and then 5, like that. Okay, so I'm going to graph this stuff. Okay, you did this last year. Bless you. We did it in a bit of a different way. Okay, so this is the original, and now this is new. Okay, did you see a vertical stretch by 3? Okay, so looking at my hands, did I do this? Like pull the points apart from each other. Okay. Where do I see that? I see it here. How much space, vertical space, is in that zone right here from this point to this point? They're 1 apart. Okay? How much vertical space are they apart from each other now? 3. Okay, same thing. These are spaced out 4 apart. But now they are spaced out by 12. Do you see that visually? I pulled them apart from each other. Okay? Where does this thing start, this vertex? I've now shifted to the right 4 and up 2. How does that look? Right 4 and up 2. Do you see all those things? Okay, where do I want to go here? Okay, let's take some graphs and do it. All right, so there's no f of x in here, but I'm going to just give you the function. So the original function was the root of x, and now I have the root of 2x. So what do you want to use as a 2? Do you want to call it an a or a b? Those are your options. Is this 2 in an a position or a b position? 50-50 chance of getting this right. B. It's a multiplier with the x. How would it look different? This is an a. The 2 root x. It's multiplying the function. Okay? So we don't have that. We have a multiplier on the x. So it's a b. So what are you going to do to coordinates? If there's a b, what do? Horizontal compress. Okay, so I didn't give you coordinates, but guess what? You can just figure out coordinates. So we want to take a 0, 0, for instance. What does the new coordinate become? What's 0 divided by 2? Still 0. I can take a coordinate 1, 1. What does it change to? A half, 1. I have a coordinate at 4, 2. What is it going to become? What are you going to do? You're going to take the x value and divide it by 2. So it's going to become 2, 2. Can you visualize the accordion? What did I do? I push those points towards the axis. I squished them towards the axis is like a wall. So now you got to squish it towards that wall. Okay. This is kind of like a test question where I give you a graph and you're going to have to change your graph. So let's take some points on our graph. I'm going to do the first coordinate over here, -4, 0. I'm going to take this bottom of the V, so that's what coordinate? 0, -2. I'm going to take this x-intercept is nice, so I'm going to go 1, 0. And I'm going to take one more. I'm going to say exactly where the arrowhead is. What's the coordinate on the arrowhead spot? 2, 2. Okay, so the question gave me 3 different graphs. Okay, A, B, C, D, what do you got on the first option? A C and a D. A C and a D. So here we go. X plus 2. Y plus 3. Okay, can I show you what I do to make my life a little faster? I actually rip all the x's through, and then I go all the y's. So just go add 2, add 2, add 2. So -2, 2, 3, 4. So see how I just went all x's. I added 2, added 2, added 2, added 2. Can you do all the y's now? Add 3, add 3, add 3. Okay, then you have these 4 points and you graph them. Graph your points that you made. And do you remember what the shape should look like? And there should be an arrow involved because there was an arrow on my original shape as well, right? So it will have a connection like that. Okay, it has to still have an arrow because of that arrow on the original. Does it look like it went right and up? Do you see the visuals of it? Okay, number 2, we're going to identify the ABCD letters. So this time we have an AB. So did you do X divide by 2? And a 3Y. Okay, do all X's quick and then do all Y's. Half all the X's and triple all the Y's. Do we match? Okay, ready to graph your numbers? Connect your shape and make sure your arrow goes in the right matching spot that it should. Visuals. Did you take an accordion and push it together? Does your shape look like it's squished more? Did you grab your hands and pull the points, spreading them out like this vertically? Did you spread them apart from each other? Yes. Okay, I'm going to show you again what this could look like. So this point and this point have how much vertical space between them? They're only 2 apart. And now they're 6 apart. Do you see this? I spread it the space. They're 6 apart from each other now instead of 2 apart. Okay, and the last one. Which letter? A, B, C, D? A? So here's my process. Negate the Y. That's an A. So the X's are easy. The X's are just all copied. And the Y's have to negate. Copy the X's, change the Y's. Okay, so now this is the part where sometimes people struggle. What was the physical thing that we did? We reflected vertically, or we reflected over the x-axis. So can you visualize my hand? I'm going to put like an arrow up here. So if I reflect vertically, if my arrow was shooting up, now my arrow is shooting down. Can you visualize that arrow positioning? That's vertical, right? One was pointing up, so when I flipped, my arrow is now pointing down. Okay, 2 more questions. I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip that one. Okay, I think you have a question in your homework that kind of mixes you up a little bit. So here's an equation. So this was a grade 11 quadratic equation. So do you notice what has happened here? I've negated each x. So what does this mean I've used? The negative is I've negated with a b. How did I know it was a b? Because what do b's do? They're in front of your x's. So if I negate, right, if you change a b, you're changing x's, you're flipping over the y-axis. Okay, so if you ever use a b, you have to change every x. So if you have a few x's in your function, it's going to change every x. What's the difference between this? Now I've negated the function. Because remember, this was the function. So I've negated the function. So can you see that this is an A negative? Do you see the difference between an A negative and a B negative? The negative on this is negating the function. The negative on this is negating my x's. Okay, so I was trying to show you a difference between some A and B positioning when I'm not using f of x. Okay, so this question, every time I saw an x, all of a sudden now it's x minus 2. Every time I saw an x, x minus 2. So what application is this one doing? Not a B. Just kidding. Not a B. What is it? They're doing a C value because they're changing every x. So what kind of shift is this showing? You should write a right to. It's a C value. I changed every x. Versus this says just a subtract 2 after the function. So this is like the function, and then I subtracted 2 at the end of the function. So now, what's this application? That would be doing a D move. So now this would be down, right? Okay, so understanding the difference of when there's no F